I never thought I'd be writing something like this, but here I am. My name's Mike, and I've been with my wife, Jessica, for about 8 years now. We got married a little over 5, and up until a couple of weeks ago, I genuinely believed we had a good, stable relationship. We weren't perfect, but we had a rhythm. We shared everything, our dreams, our failures, even the boring day-to-day stuff. Or so I thought. We had a tradition. Every year on our anniversary, we'd go out for dinner, spend the night somewhere fancy, and just enjoy each other's company. It was always a big deal for us. This year, I booked a nice boutique hotel in the city. Jessica seemed excited about it, got all dressed up, even bought a new dress, which she was pretty proud of. I was looking forward to it too, thinking, yeah, this is going to be another memorable anniversary. Little did I know, it would turn into a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. The signs started small. Jessica started being a little distant a couple of weeks before. She'd cancel plans at the last minute, say she was stressed from work, or just brush off questions about where she was going or who she was talking to. I didn't think much of it at first. People have stress, they need space. But then I noticed her phone was more locked than usual. She'd hide her messages, turn off notifications if I came near. That's when I got suspicious, but I didn't want to jump to conclusions. The real clue was when I was cleaning our room a few days before the anniversary. I found a small, crumpled hotel receipt tucked behind her pillow. It was for a hotel downtown, booked during our anniversary weekend. I didn't say anything right away, but my curiosity was piqued. I looked at the date and it matched our anniversary. I thought maybe she booked a surprise getaway or something. But then I noticed a second receipt, this one for a restaurant and a boutique shop. Not necessarily unusual, but the timing felt suspicious. Then came the texts. I saw her phone light up late one night, and I did what I shouldn't have. I peeked. I saw messages that made my stomach drop. Flirty, intimate stuff. She was texting someone named Jake, calling him her secret crush, saying she couldn't wait to see him, that she missed him, and even mentioning they'd meet up at the hotel I just found out about. The tone was clear. She was cheating, and she was lying about her whereabouts. The texts weren't just innocent flirtation. They were hot, explicit, and meant to be secret. I was stunned, honestly. My mind was racing. How long had this been going on? Was this all an act? I felt betrayed, angry, and so incredibly stupid for not seeing the signs earlier. I stayed up all night staring at those messages, trying to make sense of how someone I trusted could do something so cruel. She kept saying she was stressed, that she was just venting, that Jake was just an old friend. But I knew better. No friend talks like that, especially not with that level of intimacy and desire. That morning I decided I had to confront her. I couldn't let it slide. Not anymore. I was ready to hear her lies or excuses. I needed to know why she did this, how long she's been lying to me. But honestly, I already knew the answer. She'd been cheating on me for a while, and I had been blind to it. The betrayal hit me so hard that I wanted to scream, cry, and punch something all at once. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face for so long? And the worst part was, I still loved her, or at least I thought I did, and I was terrified of what that meant now. That confrontation didn't go the way I expected. I was ready for her to deny everything, to gaslight me like she always did when we argued. She's good at that. Jessica's the type who can lie with a smile on her face and make you doubt your own eyes. But I didn't give her the chance. I just threw the phone on the bed and asked, "Who is Jake?" Her eyes widened for half a second, and then she scoffed like I was the one overreacting. "Oh, please," she snapped, crossing her arms. "It's not what you think. You're being paranoid, Jake. Just someone I talk to about work. He's not even that special. You're acting like a jealous teenager." Her tone was bitchy, dismissive, like I was the crazy one. I could see her trying to brush it off, but I wasn't buying it. Not at all. I could see her squirm, her lips tightening, but she kept trying to act like I was overreacting. I told her I saw the receipts, the texts, everything. She rolled her eyes and said I was reading too much into it, that I was crazy to think she'd cheat on me during our anniversary weekend. She said it was all a mistake, a misunderstanding, and that I was just insecure. I asked her why she was hiding her phone if she had nothing to hide, and she snapped back that I was being controlling, that I was making her feel like a prisoner, that I was paranoid because I don't trust her. And you know what? I really wanted to believe her. I wanted to believe she was just stressed or maybe just messing around with some guy for fun. But I knew deep down that her excuses were hollow, just empty words. I could see the lies in her eyes, the way she tried to pretend she didn't know what I was talking about. I could feel the betrayal sinking in, like a slow poison I couldn't wash away. I told her I was done, that I couldn't do this anymore. Her face twisted into this nasty smirk like she was enjoying messing with me. She kept saying I was overreacting, that she loved me, that this was just a one-time mistake and that I was being dramatic. The funny thing is, she's always been good at turning things around, making me feel guilty, making me doubt myself. That's her thing, gaslighting, lying, and then blaming me for everything. I walked out of that room feeling numb. My mind was racing, my stomach was in knots. I kept asking myself how she could do this, how she could betray me during what was supposed to be our special weekend. I kept replaying the texts, the receipts, her cold attitude. I was furious, and honestly, I was hurt worse than I'd ever been. I thought I knew her, but now I wasn't so sure. I started wondering if I'd missed all the signs, if I'd been blind to her lies all these years. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept staring at my phone, debating whether to call her out again or just pack a bag and leave. Every time I thought about her, about what she did, I felt this mixture of rage and heartbreak. I'd always believed in honesty, loyalty, and trust, and now every bit of that was shattered. I thought about what I'd do next, whether I should confront her again or just walk away and forget her. But deep down, I knew this was just the beginning of something far worse. I was drowning in betrayal, and I didn't even know how to start to breathe again. After that night, I knew I couldn't just sit around and stew in my own confusion. I had to do something, but I wasn't sure what yet. Part of me still loved Jessica, or at least wanted to believe I did. The other part was furious, angry at her, hurt beyond words, and feeling like my entire world was falling apart. I decided I'd take a step back, gather my thoughts, and figure out what to do next. But of course, life had other plans. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I'd been hit by a truck. My head was pounding, my stomach was knotted, and the betrayal kept echoing in my mind. I couldn't shake it. I looked at my phone and saw she'd left a message, just a simple text, "We need to talk." I was tempted to ignore it, but I knew I couldn't. I had to hear her out, even if it was just to get closure or finally hear the excuse she'd been saving. When she showed up that afternoon, she was her usual bitchy self, tossing her hair and acting like she owned the place. She sauntered into the living room as if nothing had happened, trying to pretend she was innocent. I looked at her and said, "We need to talk, no more lies." Her eyes met mine, and for a second she looked annoyed, like I was ruining her fun, but then she sighed and sat down across from me. "I don't know what you want from me," she said, rolling her eyes. "You've been acting crazy ever since you found those receipts. It's just some stupid flirtation. I was stressed and didn't mean anything by it. You're overreacting as usual." Her words felt like knives. I could see her lying through her teeth, but she had this way of making it sound convincing. That's what made her so dangerous. I told her I knew about Jake, that I saw the texts and receipts, and that I wasn't going to pretend everything was okay anymore. I asked her if she loved me, if she really wanted to throw away our life together for some meaningless sex with her boss. She shrugged and said, "Look, Mike, I didn't plan for any of this. It just happened. I was under a lot of pressure at work, and Jake's just a guy I talk to when I need to vent. It's not a big deal." She said she was sorry, but I didn't believe her. Sorry doesn't cut it when you've been cheating. She tried to dismiss it all, saying I was insecure, that I was jealous, that I was blowing things out of proportion. She told me I was crazy for thinking she'd do something so stupid on our anniversary weekend, especially when she was trying to make it special. I felt my blood boil. How could she be so callous? How could she lie to my face like that? It was all a game to her, I could tell. But there was the part of me that wanted to break down, to just cry and give up. I kept asking myself how I missed all the signs, how I let her get away with this for so long. Every time she denied it, I felt more betrayed. I wondered if I'd even recognize the woman I once loved. It was like losing a piece of myself, piece by piece. My mind kept racing, trying to find some kind of logic, some reason to believe her lies or to see if there was any way to fix this. But deep down, I knew I was already on the edge of something dark, something I might not come back from. It was only a matter of time before I'd have to decide whether I was going to forgive her, fight for her, or just walk away. The truth was, I was exhausted. Betrayal is exhausting, especially when you find out someone you trusted has been sneaking around behind your back, lying and doing God knows what with her boss. Everything I thought I knew about our marriage was crumbling, and I was left standing in the wreckage, trying to hold on to whatever semblance of myself I had left. That evening I couldn't focus on anything except what I'd uncovered. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the texts, the hotel receipts, her smirk when she denied everything. The raw sting of betrayal was almost physical. I started thinking about what to do next, whether to confront her again, to pack up and leave, or to somehow get revenge. Honestly, I was so angry I didn't trust myself to make rational decisions. But deep down, I knew I had to act. I couldn't let her get away with this. I spent hours scrolling through her phone, trying to find any more evidence, any secret conversations I had missed. That's when I discovered something else: hidden emails, secret apps, and messages that seemed to go even deeper. She'd been sneaking around for months, maybe longer. I realized she'd been lying to my face for so long, I'd lost track of what was real anymore. My stomach twisted with a mixture of rage, sadness, and that gnawing feeling I couldn't shake. She'd cheated on me, manipulated me, and now I was just a fool for not seeing it sooner. The next day, I knew I had to make a plan. I couldn't just storm into her face again and demand answers. That would give her more power, more opportunities to lie her way out. Instead, I decided to set a trap. I started researching how to catch a cheating spouse, how to gather proof without her suspecting. It took some effort, but I installed a few apps, kept a close eye on her phone, just enough to catch her in the act again if she slipped up. It felt wrong, like I was invading her privacy, but at this point I didn't care. Trust was shattered and I needed the truth. While I was doing all this, Jessica kept acting like everything was normal. She was bitchy, snippy, and short-tempered, probably because she sensed I was slipping away, or maybe because she knew I was onto her. She'd lash out at me for the smallest things, call me insecure, accuse me of being jealous for no reason. Honestly, her behavior made me more suspicious. She was trying to maintain this facade of innocence, but I saw through it. She was panicking and I knew I had her cornered. That night I caught her slip up for good. I found out she'd been texting Jake again, more explicit messages saying she couldn't wait to see him, that she was ready for the sex, and that she wanted to make it their special weekend. That was the moment I snapped. All the confusion, the hurt, the anger boiled over. I felt like I was drowning. How could she do this? How could she lie to my face and then do it again? I was furious at her, but more than that, I was furious at myself for ever trusting her in the first place. I sat her down, finally losing my patience. I told her I knew everything about the texts, the receipts, the secret apps. I told her I was done playing her game. Her face went blank for a second, then she burst out laughing, that nasty, bitter laugh she always uses when she thinks she's winning. "You're such a man-child," she spat. "You're just jealous because I don't want your boring ass anymore. Jake's so much better than you could ever be." That's when I realized she'd been planning this all along, that her lies weren't just desperation. They were her way of pushing me away for good. Honestly, I felt like I was falling apart inside. The woman I loved, the woman I married, turned out to be this lying, manipulative bitch. The part of me that wanted to save the marriage was dying fast, but the other part, my pride, my dignity, refused to let her tear me down anymore. I told her I was leaving, that I wanted nothing more to do with her. She just shrugged, smirked, and said, "Good luck with your little revenge scheme," like I was the one losing. That's when I knew I had to go through with it, whatever it was. I couldn't stay with someone who'd lie and cheat and treat me like I was nothing. I was done being the fool. The betrayal had broken me, and now it was time to decide how to pick up the pieces. After I made my decision to leave, things escalated quickly. I didn't want to confront her again, not face to face, not with her acting like she was the victim. I knew I had to do something more calculated, more definitive. So I started planning my exit, but I also knew I needed to send a message, a final blow she wouldn't forget. I wanted her to see just how much she'd hurt me, and I wanted her to feel the weight of her betrayal. I spent the next day gathering everything I needed. I kept a detailed record of every lie, every text, every secret email. I even took screenshots of her conversations with Jake so I wouldn't forget or lose any evidence. I wanted to be sure that when I finally confronted her, or when I revealed everything, it would be irrefutable. I also started packing my things privately, so I wouldn't give her the chance to manipulate or guilt me into staying. I decided I'd leave in the middle of the night quietly before she had a chance to spin any more lies. That evening, she was her usual bitchy self, throwing insults, sniping at me about trust issues and insecurities. She kept trying to gaslight me, telling me I was overreacting, that I was crazy for suspecting her. I just nodded, playing along, pretending I was still buying her bullshit. But inside, I was already planning my escape. I pretended everything was normal, but my mind was racing, making sure I had covered all my bases. When night fell, I slipped out of the apartment quietly, leaving a note behind. It simply said I couldn't do this anymore, that I'd found out the truth and that I deserved better than her lies and cheating. I didn't want to make a scene, and honestly, I just wanted to be free from her toxicity. I drove to a friend's place and finally took a deep breath. That's when it hit me. I'd lost my wife, my trust, and a big chunk of my sanity. But I also felt a strange sense of relief. It was like I'd escaped a nightmare I'd been living in for too long. Over the next few days, I started talking to people, friends, family, getting advice, trying to process everything. Every time I thought about Jessica, I felt this mix of anger, sadness, and disappointment. But somewhere deep inside, I also felt this flicker of strength. I realized I'd been so blinded by love that I ignored all the warning signs. And now I was finally free from her manipulation. The hardest part was accepting that she'd betrayed me in the worst way possible, during what was supposed to be our special weekend. She took that away from me, and I knew I'd never get it back. But I also understood something else. This wasn't just about her cheating and lying. It was about me finally waking up and realizing my worth. I deserved better than to be played, lied to, and treated like I was disposable. I've started putting myself first, healing slowly but surely. It's not easy, and I still have bad days, but I know I'll come out of this stronger. I've learned that sometimes you have to lose everything to realize what really matters. And what matters now is moving on, rebuilding, and never trusting someone so completely again. Looking back, I never thought I'd end up in a situation like this. I was that guy who believed in loyalty, honesty, the kind of relationship where you could count on someone. Jessica was the woman I trusted, the woman I married. And yet, in the blink of an eye, everything shattered because she couldn't keep her legs closed or her mouth shut. The betrayal hit me hard, and honestly, it's changed me forever. But here's what I've learned from all of this. Trust is fragile, and people can surprise you, sometimes in the worst ways. No matter how much love you give, some people just don't deserve it. I've come to realize that people show you who they really are when their mask slips. Jessica's mask slipped, revealing who she really was: selfish, manipulative, and unfaithful. I was a fool for ignoring the signs, but now I see things clearly. I've also learned to value myself more. I used to think I needed her, that my happiness depended on her approval. Turns out I was wrong. I can survive without her, and I will. I've started rebuilding my life piece by piece, and I know that I'll be okay. It hurts like hell, but in some way I'm grateful. This betrayal forced me to face the truth about her, about myself, and about what I want out of life. So to anyone else out there dealing with something similar, my biggest advice is this: don't ignore the red flags. Trust your instincts. And if someone shows you their true colors, don't be afraid to walk away. Because at the end of the day, you deserve someone who respects you, who values you, and who's willing to be honest, no matter how difficult the truth might be. Loving yourself is the first step toward healing, and believe me, you'll come out stronger on the other side.